Hello, you're listening to the podcast called What No One Knows. I'm your host, Lisa Marie Garcia. Please join us as I talk with some of the most important influencers, from entrepreneurs to C-suites to founders to venture capitalists. You will want to know their answer to the question, what no one knows. Thank you for joining. Hello, this is Lisa Marie Garcia, and today you're listening to another episode of What No One Knows. Thank you for joining me. We are in the Wave Studio 1 at the Tampa Bay Wave offices in downtown, beautiful Tampa Bay, and it's nice and sunny today. I'm excited to have you meet our guest. We have Robyn Mussler in the studio, in the house, like they say. I'll date myself there. But she's here with us today, and we're very excited to have her here. I've known Robyn for a few years, so I'm very excited for you all to get to know her today. Thank you, Robyn, for being here.
Well, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Thanks. All right. So you've got quite the background, and you've got an amazing organization that I was very happy to see one of your groups this last month or so at the at Embark Collective. So I'm still sort of excited about what I saw and excited to share more about it. So thank you. Let's talk. I'd like to talk first. I would like you to kind of explain how you come to be a person in tech.
Sure. So, person in tech, well, when I was in college, I really didn't know what I was doing. I traveled around the world in that and studied in Spain for a little bit. And then, came back and it seemed like technology was trending. So I said, okay, seems like a profession to go into. So I actually did go to school. Finished off my degree to get a degree in technology.
It's funny that you say that because I had a business degree, but IBM hired me and then trained me. So it was kind of that same sort of, okay, seems like this should be okay. And now it's like, you got to get this certification, comma this, comma that, get your grad degree in data science, the whole thing. So yeah, that's so you were a techie from the beginning then in your early career, and then kind of take us through a little bit more of then, what did you do? What excited you about tech that then you brought to your company, NGT 360, we're going to talk about, or really starting with candid.
Sure, absolutely. Well, the exciting thing about tech is that you really get to understand how the world works, right? And seeing how just all different types of business verticals. I've been really blessed. I've done a lot of consulting, so I've been very blessed to get to understand many different types of businesses, which I like, right? So like I've worked for Accenture, NASDAQ, Nielsen, and many different companies that allow me to see just where their puzzle piece fits into the community. So one of the things that I learned in my travels, I just really like to understand how the world works, right? And so in business and in tech, you actually get to put solutions together to help businesses work more efficiently. So I really like the innovation, and I've been very fortunate that in the tech industry, I've been on that innovation side and have been a part of developing hundreds of different products.
Well, there's a couple of things you said there I want to stay on. One is that idea of understanding verticals, right? So vertical market. And it's interesting that you say that because also in my career and my clients in my tech company were all enterprise size, but it was banking and it was healthcare and it was retail, completely all different types of verticals. But I think sometimes it's a different, I don't know that there's that experience so much anymore because now it's so much virtual. And I don't know, like back in my time, it was more you'd go to their office. You would be there with them. You'd get to know multiple levels within the organization.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think that you can ever replace that in person, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can do virtually, don't get me wrong. But anyways, I just think that it really is getting to understand your customer. Like that is so key and so important. And to your point, when I was managing development teams, we had responsibility of everything from idea to actual implementation, right? And so now, to the point that you just said, things have become very niche.
Yes.
And so, so many people don't understand other pieces that actually impact the type of work that they're doing because it's gone niche.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, liken it to my experience. I was everything. I was trainer. I was help desk. I was programmer. I was surveyor. I was data collection. I was telco ordering. And there is a lot, probably too much. I mean, in hindsight, probably too many roles was for one person. But like you said, you had the whole account and all the elements that had to do with the implementation or whatever you were doing. We were all talking together and we were the same people or the same team. And like you said, it's not that way anymore. And one of the worst things that could happen is not good communication.
Communication.
Huge.
It's interesting because that's one of the things that we teach in the program that is so key. Communication is the number one skill. I will tout that on the mountaintops is the way that we communicate and our ability to communicate to all different levels is the key to where we are going to land in our life.
Yeah, and that is usually what I tout in our company. That's usually where our failure point is.
Oh,
when we
absolutely.
It's going to point back to that. Well, we're very much the same so far. We're tracking the same. So let's actually, as you talked about for your organization. So I want to really spend some great time to tell people about NGT 360, and if you could maybe talk about the genesis and why it feeds you now, and just the great work you're doing.
Absolutely.
Share all about NGT 360.
Okay, sure. So 10 years ago, I was invited to be on the Career Ed Board for the Pinellas Education Foundation, and they invited me to be a judge to a tech competition that they had put together. So let's just say that it wasn't up to how we really do things in industry. So I questioned them to say, okay, what criteria did you give? And so I said, well, now I understand, we really do want to be teaching kids to what we're doing in industry. And so they said, sure. And I put together best demonstrated practices of how we do things, build product in industry. The first year it took off like gangbusters. But what we realized is 90% of what we do is not being taught. It's kind of like what you were just talking about, understanding that full picture of the different pieces of business and technology themselves. They're only teaching coding when there's so much more of a world that they need to understand before anybody should really touch a line of code, right? Or use AI these days to generate, because you need that critical thinking. And so anyways, I just kind of looked at my colleagues who I had pulled in, to be a part of this. And I said, well, if we know they need the skills, they're not getting it, we have them, then it's up to us to solve the problem. So anyways, kind of fast forward, just really embellish the program to be more of, I like to call it that it's a youth tech Shark Tank with an American Idol twist, because we develop these young adults, right? And so kids come up with a real world problem that they want to solve with tech. And through the program that I created, along with our incredible mentor community, we help them take that raw, innovative idea and build a product that they can take to market. So we are all about the mess. We are all about teaching them what we do. So they're learning industry skills being taught by industry experts. So the whole focus, we're not into fancy tech. We are into building tech that has a purpose, that has customer value and a good customer experience. And then every season we give $15,000 in awards. 10,000 of that goes to the first place winners. And they also get a 30-minute pitch with Kevin Harrington. So this year is super special to me, and we are celebrating our 10th season, which is a huge milestone.
Congratulations, huge.
Thank you. So, we've impacted close to 2,000 students. We have millions more that we need to help out, right? Because we teach them the skills, the mindset, and the network to be successful no matter what career path that they go down. So, one of the things in my life is I had a little sister that had Down syndrome. And so I attribute to her and very grateful to her for all of the lessons that she has taught me and my value system that I hold very true to today. And I always knew that I needed to serve her. And I was approached by an organization called Wawability. And this year actually marks the American Disability Act. Its 35th anniversary, which is huge. So I kind of attribute that my parents attributed to that being able to be formed in all of that. But anyways, I was asked if we would consider being a part of what they're doing and showing what the next generation could do. And I basically broke down crying and said, absolutely, like this is great because now we're able to serve all abilities, and which is how it should be, So we're helping to break down those biases and judgment and showing that how we can use technology for good, but also so many of the solutions that we're putting in place serve all abilities, not just one or a couple, right? And so what's really interesting this year is I have 7 teams who are so motivated. It's beautiful to see their heart and that they are actually building something to serve for the good. We are developing products that are giving giving those with disabilities independence and freedom. Right. What a great thing to do.
Right. So just to clarify.
Sure.
So it's high school aged kids. And do you have one program a year
So very good question. Yeah, that's a very good question. So traditionally we have, right? And it usually follows the school year.
Right.
But we've also created a boot camp. So it's Innovate 360, and so that's a 5-day boot camp, and now we can go to middle school and high school. The program really is something that can be used at all levels, even in the professional world, in accelerators in corporate America, but so we are looking to expand so that we can actually impact more and more students to be able to have that toolkit, right, that is just setting them up for success.
Okay, so the program that you have right now with the 7, do you call them cohort groups, like the Wave,
yes.
or what do you call them? Okay,
yes.
So the 7 cohorts, they will then finalize. The finals will be in what month? Is it May? Or?
So this year, the finals is April 8th.
Okay, so right around the corner.
Yes.
Okay, April 8th, and then you have these boot camps. I guess I'm looking at what's 2025 look like.
Yeah, so
for
2025,
NGT.
what we're looking to do is to get summer boot camps there for middle schoolers and high schoolers, right? And then to restart the cohort. One of the things that hopefully will come out of this partnership with Wawability is that we will kind of do a slice and have a vertical that NGT goes down that will be solely focusing on developing products for those with disability.
That's great.
Yes, and so looking at turning that into a national program, and obviously NGT, we would love to be able to do that as well.
Okay, and you said tech for a purpose. So has it always been a value for you and what you've run that it's always tech for a purpose, whether that happens to be with Wawability for special needs or other? Has it always been, or has that been evolving?
No, that's a really good question. So one of the things is we really want the kids to choose something that they're passionate about, so we are encouraging them to be as curious as possible. And so what happens is if you have a child that actually is working on something that they enjoy, they're going to learn, right? And that's kind of where the magical transformation starts, because all of a sudden they get this confidence, they understand, they're willing to take risks, they're agile, they get to be so much more coachable as well. And so in the past, we haven't themed it, but we've allowed the students to choose the problems that they want to solve. But the curriculum itself is all the same as
Right.
far as what we're teaching them.
What the program is and
Yes.
how they go through the accelerator or startup. And that's very cool that they get to pitch in front of Harrington.
Yes.
That's very fun for them. Wow. So the what I wanted to just touch on is also, are you going to be present, or will there was a team, I think, that is actually going to go to Washington, D.C. for the 35-year celebration for Wawa
Yeah, so
Ability,
the
right?
winning
That's
team,
pretty
who we
cool.
don't know who that is yet,
Right.
right?
April 8th.
So on April 8th, the judges will get to hear all 7 teams and decide who that winning team is.
And they'll be there in Washington,
Yes.
D.C. Yeah, that's very rock star. Well, let's talk about, we are in the Tampa Bay Wave studios. Let's talk about how great the partnership's been with NGT and the Tampa Bay Wave. They've loaned out some of their, special keynote speakers and some of the area. Just kind of tell me how the kids have benefited from Tampa
I
Bay
kind of
Wave.
look at Tampa Bay of what our students really should strive for. I look at them as a pipeline. So the Wave has just been wonderful in being there to help us. Like, they've hosted a mentor kickoff. Last year, we actually did final pitches here. We've done, we now have a Teen Innovator podcast that my interns have come here to do the podcast. And then also we've had personnel from the Wave that has been judges and also speakers at our events.
What do you think is, you're in that startup accelerator. I mean, this is your life, right? What do you think is unique that kind of sets the Wave apart, would you say? I mean, there's...
Well, I just think, they're so thorough. Like, the expertise that they bring to the table is awesome. And their reach of, who they're able to pull in from their network is, I think, better than any. And one of the things that I love about it is that then the kids get to see that, right? And we always are pushing them to see bigger and to also look at, when they are doing things, that there's always a bigger way to do it. And so that's one of the things also that I've seen a contribution from the Wave is, especially in the experts that they have, like Dr. Manassi and Mariah, and that of challenging the kids and saying, hey, well, have you considered maybe this? Or like what you're talking at, could you really clarify? Because there could be multiple types of markets and that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, definitely powerful partnerships
Yes.
the Wave has. And I was curious, talking about the influence that that they have. You also in NGT 360, you also have the mentor advisor types.
Right.
And so how do you... So do you do it where you have, like, how many mentor advisors do you have? Do you have like a combination where you have, one-on-one, or tell me how that program works
Really
for
good
you.
question. So one of the things, we have a hybrid model, right? So we have in-person workshops that we will teach concepts, and then the mentors will work with the teams to apply those concepts to the product and business that they're developing, okay? But then also virtually, they will be working with different mentors. So they get a group of mentors, and we do it kind of organically because we want the mentors and the students they need to gel, right?
Right.
And so when they have marketing needs, well, you don't go to an architect or a developer to get marketing advice, right? And so whatever their needs are, we will pull in those expertise. So we're very fortunate to have, we've got VCs, marketing, business analysts, QA people, developers, architects, so through this, they also get to understand all those different types
Elements.
of careers that are out there, right?
Yeah.
And all these companies of just potential pipeline of where they could go if they wanted to.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I was just thinking about when I was back there that night at Embark and hearing from your cohorts and hearing from some of the advisor mentors and talking about their experience, because that one-on-one, and like you said, when they mesh, when they sync up, when they, have this mutual respect that they just are open to learning and, wanting to follow in their footsteps. And that's part of the greatness of you having these groups in high school, is that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, who am I following next as I'm a young person in this world.
One of the things I do want to share with you is that what kind of has surprised me about the program, and now that I've been in it so long, it kind of just seems very common, but really what happens so much is that personal development in the child themselves. Their whole life is transformed where they can see opportunity. And to talk to alumni, somebody who has been part of the program. So feedback that they said, you allow us to understand what our abilities are, because I always tell them, we're working with you to pull out your superpowers, right? That's what we want to help you do. Yeah. But also, they said, you do it in a way that now we can actually see where our potential is, and we want more, right? So we have an alumni program because so many have come back to us, and they want us to help them navigate that, professional pathway, and we're so happy to do that. Because we speak the language, right? And we have the network in that, because those kids from day one are establishing their professional network. And one of the things that they said is that they really don't get that anywhere else in their life. So we have to give it to them. We want our kids to step into their greatness and soar to their full capacity. It's
100%. Where would they get there? How would they know how to build their professional network unless someone showed them? I mean, and where would they get that? I do remember hearing about the alumni program, and I mean, alumni, it sounds like a lot older group. Well, these kids were in high school when they were in your program, so they're just starting off their young careers, whether it's university or not. So that's even though they're alumni, they're very young, and they need to keep growing.
Well, you saw we had an alumni panel at the pregame, right? And so it's beautiful to see. I promise I don't pay them, right? Is that
they have all the glowing reports, right?
They attribute so much of where they are to that experience because, like I said, we're allowing them to believe in self.
Yeah. It's fantastic, Robyn. It's really great. So share with our listeners something that you've learned over the years in your, professional experience that you believe is something that you really can only learn through experience. Maybe it's not in the curriculum, maybe it's not something that someone learns at university, but just something that you learn only through experience.
I just think that life so much, getting to know yourself is only through experience and allowing yourself to just explore and not think so much of the consequences of what those are. I feel that in today's time, everybody wants a perfect world, and so they're missing out on so much. Like there's some things, that I probably would say, well, that probably wasn't the smartest choice, but I learned from it, right? And now I know not to. So that to learn what doesn't work is far more valuable to learn than to learn what does work, right? Because when things are going well, there's not really a lot of learning happening.
Right. Nope. That's great. No, getting to know yourself. I think that is super important. All right. Well, I looked at the timer, and it looks like we're very close to being. It's been a fast conversation and a good conversation, but I have to ask you the last question.
Sure.
And so the question is, can you share with us what no one knows about you, Robyn?
Sure. So what nobody knows about me is I'm a yogi. And so I work out every morning at 5:30. I do hot power yoga, and
you do the Bikram at 5:30. I'm not even caffeinated yet.
Just it helps me just ground myself and get prepared for the day.
Very cool. I used to do Bikram. I haven't done it for
10 years. So, but I do remember the benefits, but not at 5:30 in the morning. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for joining us. I want to also make sure people know how to dig in to understand. It will be in the notes, but as well as how they can, it's a not-for-profit,
Yes.
Connect IT, so that you can help contribute financially to all the work that Robyn does with the high schoolers and the middle schoolers. That's fantastic. You're at that age group also. But just go ahead and give your contact information, how people can find out more about your Rockstar program.
Sure. So it's connected360.org is the website, and it has information on all sides, right? Sponsorship, mentorship, how students can get enrolled in that sort of thing. And then also, if you wanted to email, it's info@connected360.org.
Perfect. Thank you again for being here, and thank you all for watching What No One Knows.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to our show, What No One Knows. If you'd like more information regarding our guests, it's in the description below, as well as if you'd like to work with our publishing and promotion team, that you can also find in the links. Thank you.